account. You'll like it. Jeff, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Dave, anytime. Take care.
We will take a break. We'll come back. We'll get you our Joe's Angle of the Day, courtesy of Ralph Michaels. And my buddy from back east, Long Island, Jason Brinks. Mamba Brinks, he's joining us next.
The Las Vegas Sportsline. On Twitter, follow us at the LV Sportsline and at ESPN 1100.
Hello, friends. This is Thomas Johnson from Joe's Seafood Prime Steak and Stone Crab. Need a great idea for lunch or dinner? Your best bet is Joe's, one of the most popular dining destinations on the Strip. Joe's provides the ideal setting for private parties with accommodations for up to 150 guests. Stop by to see us at the Forum Shops at Caesars and ask for Thomas Johnson, your maitre d'.
Yeah, wherever there's a Joe's, there's a line. Okay, I go to South Beach. I've been to two. South Beach, the original, and, of course, the one here in Las Vegas. It is just an amazing restaurant. You got to go, okay? It's got to be on your bucket list if you've never gone. Make a reservation, 702-792-9222, and experience as good as it gets right here in Las Vegas. Let's get to the Joe's Angle, and that is on a 12-6 run right now. Ralph Michaels provides these. And tonight we've got an NBA Sacramento +3 versus Houston. Sacramento has covered 8 straight at home. Houston is 0-6 against the spread as a favorite and 3-10 against the spread as a road favorite. So those numbers should tell you what to do. And if that's not good enough, Jason Brinks is joining us right now, has an add-on to that he emailed me about. What's going on, big guy? How are you?
How we doing, Dave?
I'm doing fine. Looking forward to tonight's action. And you,
when you sent that out, I looked it up because I know that Sacramento's been really good in these home dog spots. In fact, for the season, they're 13-3 against the number. Anytime the spread is +1 to -1 to -2.5.
Not bad.
So they've been doing good in those games as short home dogs. So
we're into that time of season in college basketball where all the conversation every night is who's the last 4 in, who's the first 4 out, who's on the bubble, who needs this for what seed, and that's great. From a college basketball fan standpoint, that stuff is awesome. But I know you and I have kind of a different take. It's not that we're ignoring the big games of the schedule. I mean, if something good stands out, go for it. But we both have a tendency to look at the games that maybe aren't getting that much attention. And maybe you can explain why that is.
I mean, for me, it's I like to focus on these smaller conferences. There's different angles that you can usually catch. I mean, if there's certain coaches that do very well versus certain teams. There's all different kinds of things that aren't really in the forefront with some of these other the bigger conferences, and I'm just able to find good edges with playing these smaller schools. So.
Listen, wherever you back the Brinks truck up to get the profits, right, man? That's the whole idea.
Like you say, Dave. If you bet $5,000 on Duke or if you bet $5,000 on Iona, you still get $5,000 if you win. You know what I mean?
There you go. But we will look at a couple of games that are big, and one of them tonight, Baylor and Texas. And Baylor's interesting because they're still, I think, kind of getting regarded as a bit of a fluke. And at some point, the fluke tag has to come off them. I mean, this team's been playing some really good ball for about a month now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, the kid that they got from Yale.
Oh boy.
He went off for 40 points last game. I kind of agree with what you said earlier about how they're playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. I don't know if I like them tonight, though. I think they're starting to get too much respect. I think the interesting game is actually going to come this weekend when they play Kansas State. So, Kansas State off that huge win last night, which you mentioned earlier, too.
That was a monster win for Kansas State. It will be interesting to see how they react in their next game. There is one game this weekend that's going to have everybody's attention. If you're a college basketball fan, the first game went to the wire, and now comes the rematch. They go to Charlottesville. Duke is going to play Virginia, and I love watching the smaller games. I'm one of those people who's digging around. If there's an Ohio Valley game that I can watch on my computer, I'll do it. But Duke and Virginia, I'm watching that from start to finish. This should be fun.
Yeah, the first game, like you said, was, close all the way. A little point spread drama late in that game with that questionable basket of whether it, got off before the horn. But Virginia, basically that game actually middled it, depending on your number. It's definitely that's a huge game. I don't understand this. Why teams don't try and speed Virginia up? If I played against them, I would press them 90 feet and make them go fast because they want to play slow and they want to play that half-court game. And no one's really done it. I mean, they haven't really faced any teams that, not that many teams press anyway, exclusively all game. But that's the way that I would play them, and I don't understand why other teams have not, taken that approach. But that should be a good one, for the rematch down in Charlottesville for sure.
Tomorrow night, I know you'll be busy tomorrow night because we've got Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference play, and this is a perfect example. This is the worst MAAC I have ever seen, ever. I mean, it is an absolutely awful conference this year. I don't know, maybe Iona, maybe Rider are the best teams. In the Ken Palm rankings, there are only 3 low minors, basically, below them in the conference ratings. They've never been this low in his conference ratings. But what that's meant, I think, has been a plus year for the bettors because this has been an absolutely great season to be dog shopping in the MAAC. Does that continue tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's the one game they got tomorrow is the St. Pete's versus Monmouth game, and Monmouth has actually been playing really, really well. I think they're one of the teams that's really being ignored as far as being at the top of that league. That's a rematch game. Monmouth took it to St. Pete's earlier in the season. Now they go and play in that disgusting gym in Jersey City. That should be about a pick'em game, I think. Maybe St. Pete's -1. That's a tough. I really don't have a strong opinion on that one. Friday there's a full slate in the MAC. We got Iona is playing Quinnipiac, and that's a really interesting game. They only played one time last year, and that was a crazy double overtime game. I think Quinnipiac had that game won like twice in regulation and in the first OT, and they ended up losing it. Iona's been they've lost 3 in a row since pulling what was a point spread upset against Rider. I mean, I think the power rankings, the way the bookmakers have it right now in that conference, is all screwed up. To me, Iona is still the team to beat, come conference tournament time. But you're right. I mean, this conference tournament this year in the MAC is just completely wide open. That you could see, someone from way back in the pack, to come up and have a good performance in that tournament.
I'm not advocating it, but I think there's a really good chance that if you were to just blind play the dog in every game in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Tournament when it starts later this month, they'll be one of the first leagues that goes to the conference tournaments, by the way. I think if you just blind play the dog in every game, you'll come out with more wins than losses.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see. Even the point spreads this year in the league games, where you have home court, they're really not that big. So, no. I mean, I think you can see a lot of games that are basically like 1, 2, 3 point spreads at the most. When Rider plays in Iona, they'll be healthy favorites. Monmouth too, I guess. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of closely lined games, and I would think the Dogs should do pretty good in that tournament.
I know you have a strong opinion on one game tonight, and for your subscribers, they're excited for that game. Tell people how they can find out more about getting all your plays.
Yeah, sure. You could email me at brinkspicks@gmail.com. And I can give you all the information about what I have to offer. As you know, Dave, I'm not a high volume player.
Nope.
Just like to find good spots sporadically throughout the card. I'm also on Twitter. at the real HBC, at the real _HBC. Yeah, if you have any interest in seeing how I operate, I could help you out like that.
Yeah, we'll talk later on and rehash some of the games tonight. It's always a pleasure, bud.
Same here, Dave. Good luck to everyone tonight.
Jason Brinks does a great job, really outstanding at the mid-major conferences. I know I get his plays and I bet him myself, and they're good. Okay, I mean, he's solid. We'll take a break. We will come back and we will get to the marquee matchup: Running Rebels on the road against Boise State.
The Las Vegas Sports Line.
What's hot today? It's time for the Wager Talk marquee matchup of the night. WagerTalk.com. Start winning now.
I'll give you a reason to follow at Wager Talk on Twitter. I'm reading this tweet from a couple hours ago. Details to follow. But Wager Talk has just reached a partnership agreement that will include some major players in the content and media world. Some big plans to be rolled out and hitting full stride by football season. Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right? Because I don't know anything else, actually. But keep that part a secret. I don't want anybody to think I don't know what's going on. No, anyway, something's big is going on. It's not something I'm privy to at this point, so I can't give you the details. Not because I don't want to. I'm not that secretive. Believe me, I got a microphone in front of me. I'm going to talk, okay? That's why they won't tell me. Because I'll blow it, and I'll announce the big plans right here, and then there'll be no point in coming out with some big announcements. Coke had already said on the show. So they didn't tell me what it is. And you'll have to wait just like I am. But there's the thing to do, is to go to Wager Talk on Twitter, at Wager Talk, and follow them. And when this big announcement becomes public, you'll know as soon as I do. Boise State hosting UNLV tonight. The current line at Caesars, since we had Jeff Davis on today, we'll use Caesars lines. Boise State -6, money line -250, total 147. How do you bet the Rebels at this point? You know, I'm not suggesting that you go out there and auto fade them, because they are still capable on the right night when they're shooting the ball pretty well and maybe not playing a good offensive team of getting a decent win. The problem is if the other team's offense is clicking, the Rebels just don't have the ability to stop it defensively. They don't move their feet well on defense. I know that sounds like a really simplistic viewpoint, but if you watch this team, I know they crash the boards hard and they like to get offensive rebounds, but watch them in terms of their foot movement on defense, and it's just not there. It's dreadful. And that leads to easy basket after easy basket. I can only go with Boise State here. It's not a play I'm using, but I would lean to the Broncos minus the points. Let's go to our LPT play of the day.
It's the LPT play of the day. Tonight's best bet from Lions Physical Therapy. Your 5-star rated specialists.
You know, this is a game that I think you can make a case for both sides in this game. The Baylor-Texas game is, to me, the most intriguing game of the schedule tonight. So I'll go ahead and use that one here. I like the dog in the game. It comes up. There's a math formula I use in the back end of the college basketball season. It's not bad in terms of isolating live dogs, and Baylor does qualify in that. The flip side of it is Baylor's got a really big game with Kansas State coming up next. Maybe the odds are finally starting to catch up with them, because a couple weeks ago this line's probably +5, +6. Now it's down to +3. But I think until Baylor gets cooled off by somebody, you either go with them or leave them alone. So while I can make a case for Texas on their style of play, their coaching, maybe the fact that they can be disruptive and force Baylor into some turnovers tonight, I think it's a better case to be made for Baylor. So going to go with Baylor plus the 3 for the LPT play of the day. It's brought to you by Lions Physical Therapy. Make sure to follow them on Twitter and listen to the messages during the course of the show with John Lyons talking about Lions Physical Therapy. I think I'm out of time. Oh, I have 90 seconds? Oh, that's plenty of time. Okay. I misread your hand signal. I thought you said 10 seconds. See, Jared Justice he's, it's not nice to pick on old guys. Okay? You're doing, that my mind doesn't work and neither does my body for that matter, doesn't work as quickly as it used to. And you're flashing me counterfeit signs here and throwing me off. And I am doing what is known right now as killing a minute, because I don't have anything else to talk about, so I'll just do this. It's inside radio stuff. Coming up next, it's Cofield and Company. Meanwhile, thanks to Jeff Davis from Caesars Entertainment. He's